everybody, how's it going? And welcome to my review of Promising Young Woman, a black comedy drama thriller written and directed by Emerald Fennell in her feature film directorial debut. So this movie tells a story of a 30-year-old woman named Cassie. Now, Cassie has this tendency to head off to bars and pretend that she's drunk or just about passed out in order to lure rapey sort of bro dudes to pick her up and take her home and, basically, do their thing with her, where she suddenly wakes up and is like, hey, guess what? Not drunk. But I'm not going to say what actually happens because the trailer didn't give anything away and I don't want to give anything away. This is going to be a spoiler-free review somehow. So yeah, when I saw the trailer, I kind of thought that was what the movie was about. There were obviously little hints here and there that there was a deeper storyline, but it wasn't really all that clear to me what, was really going on. But look, I took a gamble. I went and saw the film because I love a good revenge story. But oh my god, this film goes so far deeper than that. And again, I'm going to try and get through this review without spoiling anything, but it's going to be difficult because this movie had so many amazing surprises. This movie does not pull punches. So Margot Robbie produced the film. From what I heard, she wanted to star in it. She wanted to play the lead role, but she turned it down because she thought that Carey Mulligan was going to be a better choice. And oh man, she was right. Carey Mulligan was so brilliant in this film as this really troubled character. And again, this is stuff that's hinted in the trailer. She has an incident in her past that sort of triggers this, path of destruction that she's on, of both self-destruction and of others. And one of the things this film did so brilliantly was not just dump all the information in dialogue exposition. This is a mystery that sort of unravels throughout the narrative, and the more you find out, it is a little predictable here and there, but, the more you find out and everything, what happened, you sort of realize why this woman is so deeply troubled. Because she's not just, oh, I'm sick of men, I'm going to go out and do this thing. She really has reasons, deep reasons behind why she is doing what she's doing. And she's not sort of a character that you're sitting there cheering her on, yay, you do what you're doing to those rapists because they deserve it. Which they do, but the way that Carey Mulligan plays Cassie, there's so much going on in her brain, and she's a quirky sort of character. You do like her, but you kind of want her to stop what she's doing because it's not helping her. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about the psychology of her character. Every character in this movie was brilliant. The performances were out of this world. We had Bo Burnham, who played a character named Ryan, who is sort of the love interest, this one guy who actually doesn't seem to be a complete douchebag who she decides to take a chance on. There's a ton of really big name actors in small roles in this. You've got people like Alison Brie, Adrian Brody, Clancy Brown was brilliant. Everybody was just amazing in this film. You can tell that they really believed in the subject matter and they had a really great time making this film. But I gotta hand it to Emerald Fennell, the direction in this movie. If you are an aspiring director and you want to know of ways you can make your film stand out, watch this movie. There were so many choices she made and so many ways that both she and the cinematographer just made this movie really pop. A lot of the shot framing and lens choices and stuff was really unique and different. There were a lot of times when the subject would either be sort of pushed over to the side of the screen or the camera was just sort of, say you got two people sitting there in the frame, the camera might be tilted up just a little more than you'd expect, to give a lot of headspace, but it really worked. It really made this film stand out from the rest. And yeah, look, this movie obviously has a big message. This is a movie that every guy on the planet needs to see to understand what women go through, because, you know, there's a lot of guys out there who are like, well, you know, are women really treated that badly? Like, are they just exaggerating? Watch this movie. This is what women go through all the time. Now, look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm any sort of feminist or anything like that. I'm not going to pretend that I completely understand it either. But this movie is a good indication of just how shit males can be. But that being said, the movie doesn't just, you know, bash you over the head the whole time with this sort of anti-male dialogue or anything. It doesn't forget to be a movie as well. This movie was wickedly funny in places. Like, there were moments where I was laughing out loud. You know, I'm sitting there by myself in a cinema. I mean, there were people around me, but, you know, I wasn't with anyone. But it didn't matter. I just had to laugh out loud. There are moments that are just jaw-droppingly hard to watch. And sometimes the tone is a little inconsistent. Like, there were some scenes where, you know, bad things are happening, but you're kind of laughing and you're like, oh, should I be laughing at this particular moment? And even towards the end, like, there was some stuff happening and there was a guy behind me who was laughing at it, but I'm sitting there like, dude, no, this isn't funny. Yeah, so I do think tonally it probably was a little bit off balance here and there. But like I said, it doesn't forget to be a cinematic movie. You know, it doesn't forget just to tell an entertaining revenge story. In a way, it sort of reminded me of dark comedies of sort of the late 90s, early 2000s, things like Very Bad Things. You know, it sort of felt a little bit along the lines of those kind of films, which I loved about it. And again, without saying anything, I loved the third act of this film. I loved the ending. It wasn't at all what I was expecting. This movie really, man, it's so full of surprises, but I loved it. At first, I wasn't completely on board. Like, you know, something pretty major happens and it's so like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. But when you get to the very end, like, yeah, it was great. And it was emotional as well. Like, seriously, I was sitting there with tears in my eyes. You know, I just was invested in the characters so much. It really tugged my heartstrings at the end. So, look, that being said, when this movie finally comes out on a wide release for everyone to see, go and see it. See it on the big screen as well. This is a movie, even though the subject matter isn't really sort of like big, you know, blockbuster action sort of stuff, visually, you know, the movie is just so appealing that I would recommend seeing on the big screen. And I just recommend supporting this film. It is, I would actually say, my number one most favorite movie of this year. In a year where, you know, we've had some pretty decent stories. We've had some decent movies. You know, even though, like, this movie, it wasn't quite technically perfect, it just, you know, it was the kind of movie that I walked out, I want to see it again tomorrow. I'm going to buy it on day one on Blu-ray. I'm going to watch it again and again and again because it is such an entertaining and important movie. And I'm going to give Promising Young Woman a 9.5 out of 10. And believe me, it bugs me that I can't quite give it a 10, but like I said, just the tonal inconsistencies just pulled it a little bit back from being absolutely perfect, but it was really damn close. I mean, I would actually, like, prefer this movie over a lot of movies that I have given a 10 out of 10 to, like, you know, because sometimes there is just that rewatchability factor and stuff. Yeah, I loved this movie. All right, so throwing over to you guys, if you have seen Promising Young Woman, I would love to know what you think of it, or if you're planning on going to see it, yeah, let me know how excited you are about this movie, because it's kind of difficult. Like, I want to talk about it, but there's not a lot of people to talk about it with, or down the track, if you go see it. Come back and let me know what you thought of it. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. So drop me some comments either here, Facebook or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.